At the top, this one's Out to Savan. That was I Think I'm in Love by Spiritualized. And just then, Genesis Phantom by Justice. Genesis Phantom, www Justice. Some outrageous samples in this. Tom, I'm going to turn that away.
Sorry. You'd like Tom Tom's going to guess the quiz. Go on.
All right, there's an iconic. No, actually, it's too hard to guess. I'm not playing a stupid game. In the Club, 50 Cent is sampled. I Want to Be Your Lover, Prince is sampled. I don't know how they got that cleared. Duality, Slipknot. Flash's theme from the film Flash Gordon, the title track, I think it is. Queen recorded that. Then a Cassius, which I shouldn't just scoff at, but a Cassius sample. And then Justice have sampled Let There Be Light in there as well. Mate, absolutely mental. I don't know where that 50 Cent sample is within there, but...
That'd be hard to find it. But I was saying before, it's like space music made in the 70s, what they think the future's going to be. It's so futuristic but kind of nostalgic as well.
Kind of like makes me think of a scene from an old adaptation of Planet of the Apes where the humans are like, oh no, it's that the apes run this shit now. That's kind of where my head goes.
Yeah, the reality check of what's actually happening.
And that was you and Nads bumping it down back
Yeah.
in the day.
Yeah.
Where are we going to next,
So
brother?
let's go to life choices, like like a crossroad. Like I want you guys to think back to like whenever you've been faced with two choices and they're both appealing, and you're so scared that if you go with one, you're going to lose something else. Because I feel like music plays a big part of that for me. Because so where I was at, late 20s, Savannah and I are madly in love, still in love, and she is told it's going to be hard for her to have kids. She's got polycystic ovaries, endometriosis, I think only one working ovary, and then somehow she falls pregnant. In my 20s, I'd been working in production, making documentaries, working on shows as a producer, and then this opportunity came to do Tomorrow Man. So Tom Harkin and his wife Paige had started Tomorrow Man, and eventually Tomorrow Woman, and they're like, we need facilitators, experienced facilitators. Do you want a job? And I got so much out of working in production, but I also loved facilitation and working with people. And I was like, I'm about to become a dad and shit's getting really real. And like, what am I supposed to do? So the two songs that I want to eventually play for you guys is that one of them's called Which Way to Go by Eddie Current Suppression Ring, which do you know Eddie Current? Yeah, amazing, underrated Aussie punk band. Dude's originally from Franga, from Frankston.
Why are you giving me that?
I was just hoping that you don't know him. It wasn't like a super convincing nod. It was like, oh, really? You know him? You know what he's talking?
Tom, I think you're gonna love them. It's just like really, really sick, non-pretentious punk. There's like something really nostalgic and familiar about it. And now they've all become dads, and they're going to do a free show. I don't want to be too date specific, but they're sick. They're just like one of the best Aussie punk bands. And Which Way to Go, perfect choice. It's just the most Australiana song ever. So I'm going to pick that. And then I'm going to go with a Chemical Brothers song, which like I think you're really going to like it. And it represents this time of like, I'm going to become a dad and I'm like partying way too much because I feel like I need to get stuff out of my system. Like I'd been a good boy for a few years and then I find out becoming a dad and then I'm just like going
Beers
for
taste
it.
real good, yeah.
Yeah, so this Chemical Brothers song represents that time of like about to be reborn into like a bloody dad. So my question to you guys is, fork in the road moments that come to mind where you're like, shit, I've got two choices to make.
I've got one loaded, if you don't mind me going first.
Tom, you're going first, brother.
It's very similar to yours. Very similar, where it's, Nadia and I have met and fallen in love. She's 8 years older than I am. I have just won a premiership playing for the team I grew up supporting and having these like just weird identity crisis, spiritual growth, wondering about idealism and like, the way just like it just my whole life and like who I am and what I am has just been like turned upside down and shaken. And, I'm just going through this crazy time, but effectively it was like a similar sense that I got off Nadia, where it wasn't polycystic ovaries, but it's like, hey, I'm 31 maybe when we sort of started dating, and I was 23, and it was like,
You were 23.
Yeah, and I'd come out of having a fair bit of fun in my teenage years and into young adulthood, and like just finding my feet professionally, had amazing success in that, but I was kind of going through it in this deep relationship with Nads, and it was like, okay, I can like really just move forward and take the jump into this relationship and this love and like having a family with a wife and like jumping into life, or I can kind of freak out, I suppose, and stay with what I'm doing, which is working great for me and is heaps of fun and is what all my mates are doing and is easy and is low responsibility and like is low bandwidth, It was like there was a real clear like, oh, hang on a sec, this is actually a bit of a challenging problem. Like what should I do with my life? And what I sort of obviously decided was it was about family and it was about growth as a person, and it was about sort of leaning into that and going, nah, like it's going to be super challenging having children and committing to, a life, but that's what turns you into a man eventually. And not that I really even knew that. I just had a sense that what I was doing wasn't that fulfilling and that fun and that meaningful. And here I had like my first one of those where I'm like, this is like really amazing. This woman could be my wife. And it's looking that way, but like, wow, I've got these circumstances where there's all these reasons where it's like, well, hang on a sec, I need to think about this. But like, this is not what I'd planned, put it that way. I'm 23 and I'm like, fuck, hang on a sec. Like, that's pretty young. And here I am at 29 and I've definitely made the right decision because I've got a beautiful wife and beautiful kids and have endured that personal growth, some of it through suffering and not sleeping and having kids and making sacrifices. But that's definitely the sort of fork in the road in my life.
What helped make the choice? Because,
Mate, honestly, I think it's just gut. There's no rational explanation. There wasn't like, oh, okay, well, I'll know, if I think about like this and pros and cons and a list. It was like, nah, it's just gut. And I'm going with what I think I should do and what feels right. And knowing that, regardless, like, it's going to make you grow. You're going to get closer to the goal of like being really sturdy and being deeply faithful and being like rock solid. And I knew that was the right thing, maybe almost because it was like the harder thing. It was the thing I hadn't seen or known about. No one I knew done it really. It was like, okay, well, it's time to lean into this sort of thing and be vulnerable to whatever that means. So I think it was like a gut decision.
Beautiful.
What about you, Matt?
Lovely, Tom. Mine's my relationship to alcohol. Growing up, with the bottle shop as your fucking playground, it's brought along some really positive, a really positive relationship to alcohol where it's never been abused in my family. It's always it's always part of celebration, and it's like, hey, we're not drinking tonight. There's like an unreal cellar, like a 2-minute drive down the road, right? But, we don't need to touch that. It's a really positive relationship. But I retired from cricket and I had this like gap in my life. I'd worked so hard my whole life to be a top level clubby, like a really good shit player. And man, I retired and I caught myself at the pub on a Tuesday having a hazy IPA, a pint of it. And I was like, yeah, Lauren, I'm just having a meeting. And I went and without even thinking. And I was just like, wait a second, like that's not me. Like what the fuck is that? And I was like, there's this gaping hole in my life, like from cricket, like that's my responsibility to talk about it with my mates. And that actually I'm finding retiring really hard. When all my other mates like, you're going to love it, it's free time Saturday. They're different people to me. I had a child, they had children as well, and they just approached it completely different. And I said to a couple of them, I was like, guys, like I'm finding retirement really hard. And they're just like, oh yeah, no, you'll find some, it'll be all good. And I was just like, that's the fucking worst advice I've ever received. Like, it's not all good. Like, I'm trying to be vulnerable and honest about it. And, you know, talk about it with my best mate, Kelly, and as he always does, comes with great advice. He's like, fuck it, let's go for a run, you know? And then I was just like, I need a project. I need to do something. Like, I love my family. I love coming home. I love doing all these things with them. But it's just like, I have such an active brain. And then Tom comes into my life. And Tom's in my life. And then I had, you know, I was like, you know, I'm not doing this drinking at the pub. I'm just not going to the pub after work. It's fucking stupid. And then around the time as we started recording season 1, I was just like, I'm going to take longer breaks without alcohol. So this time it's 3 weeks. It's not 3 days, 4 days, right? 2 days, 24 hours. And being like, yeah, you did a great job. Here's a beer. You can, as a family, let's go to the park and like, oh, you know, let's bring a 6-pack. It's like, no. I'm having 3 weeks off. And I'm, you know, stonking heaps normal non-alc beers. I'm stonking Shelter Brewing Big Splash, like 0 alcohol beers, and I'm telling myself I love these beers. And then I was just like, I've completely changed my relationship with alcohol. And I like brought it up with a therapist, and she was just like, the exact same way I'm having a conversation with you right now, just soundboarded it. Had this crossroads, this dude comes into my life, this project comes in my life, and I was like, actually, like, that is just not the way you should handle shit. And I like somehow figured it out.
There's just so much in that. Like, I just love that you soundboarded with some mates. You didn't necessarily get the feedback you were looking for. Some guys would be like, I'm not going to my mates ever again. But you were strategic enough to go, oh, maybe I need to pick the right one to chat to. And then even just speaking to a mental health professional just puts you miles ahead of a lot of other people.
Lucky to fucking have the skills and have family that has given me safe space to learn how to communicate, I guess.
We do a bit of work in sports clubs, and we run an activity where people get to kind of step to the front and admit things that they haven't admitted before. And quite a few guys often get up going, I don't actually enjoy drinking alcohol, but it's just so hard to be able to even admit that in a club culture. Where it can be such a big part of it.
100%. Like, definitely my relationship to sport different to Tom's, because it's, you know, we all talk about it being a high level, but compared to what he's done, it's like it's nothing. It's important to watch, which is great, because I think it, you know, gives you a place in the world and something to strive for. But like the drinking culture in sporting clubs is like close to insane.
And one of like the things that seems to be a theme out of teams who bond really well is that like shared experience, shared vulnerability, 100%. Getting up being like, hey, when I was young, I was really worried about this, and I think about it all the time, and I have to catch myself mowing the lawn in my head to having an argument about something that doesn't exist, and actually sharing that with the boys, so then they're all like, oh man, I get you and I understand you, and that's all good, and like I can look out for you there easy, and collectively everyone's like, oh well, easy, we've got each other's back, and we know that everyone's got something. Everyone's got something going on, or they're not proud of. And
that's so exciting that like the most successful teams are the ones that have that connection off the field. Like we got to work with the Tigers back in like 2017, 2019, and like they were just so obsessed, like so close to each other and affectionate, and just knew everything about each other, and they were just so ferocious on the field, and you could tell it's because they just like loved the shit out of each other and knew all that stuff that you were just kind of talking about.
Yeah, it's a theme, man. And I think after this potty, I'm going to be trying to drag you along to the Hawks with some of the workshopping it sounds like you'll be doing, man. Because it is so
from a
meaningful.
Boy that grew up in the mean streets of Hawthorn, that would be pretty cool.
Full circle return.
Yeah.
I was say this is my friend Ryder.
Yeah.
He's
just
give him a chance.
Just sit with it, brother. Sit with it, Tom. That's all you, man.
Sweet. So let's go. All right, guys. Let's go into Eddie Current Suppression Ring, Which Way to Go, and then my surprise Chemical Brothers tune.
This is Ryder's show, Past the Yorks. I'm the guest, Matt. The other guest is Tom Barrass. We'll be right back.